Hello, how are you? I'm Michelle Lloyd. I'm founder of United Art Space. Every day I'm going live at this time to give you little tips and answering some questions that I've had from the workshops that I'm hosting. If you don't know about the workshops, you've been under a rock. They are workshops that I am delivering this week and next week to help artists start to figure out more about their work and how they can make a living from it. Good morning, Lottie. How are you? So today I was going to do a Q&A, but I've had so many questions coming in around the same topic. So I'm going to delve in a bit deeper about this thing that people keep asking me about, style, consistent style. So I will do the Q&A session tomorrow instead. Hello, Tina. I'm having a bad hair day, so I've got the hat on. And it's freezing. Here in the UK, the temperature has plummeted. It's dropped. Hello, Nicola. So I've been reading all the comments, which have been amazing. Oh, I was actually crying last night. I had a little cry because I caught up on all the comments from the first video yesterday, and it really brought a lot up for me because one, I see the struggle. The struggle is really real for quite a lot of people, and it brings back memories because I remember when I left uni, I was in a bad place. And I was, I didn't know what to do. And it was almost like I'd found art. Art saved me. So before art, I was in an even worse place, like horrific place. I won't go into it, but it was bad. And mentally and not knowing what to do. And I was really struggling with the way my brain worked. And then I immersed myself in art. And then when all of that came to an end and I didn't know how to keep this going, I was desperate to carry this on. It saved me and I could not bear going back to a job. And it was really scary because I felt like for the first time in my life, I found something that I really enjoyed. And I found something that I really was good at. And so when I start to see the comments coming in, it really triggers me back to that time where I was desperate to keep it going because you don't want the alternative of doing something that makes you miserable. And the good news is, I found my way. You can find your way as well, and I'm going to help you find your way. And also it made me cry when I read all these amazing comments. Some people have said just the most amazing things. So thank you. But also, this has been a big journey for me. And especially coming from that dark place where I didn't even think I'd be here today, to be honest, but especially doing the work that I do now. And so to see that it's having that impact just gives me so much joy. It's just incredible because it's been a long journey of making these workshops and setting United Art Space up. So it makes me feel so good to see that everyone is making progress just after that first video. But I want you to know that this is possible for each and every one of you, the place where I've come from. And when you have that dream and you know that you find something that you just love and you want to carry that on, you can find a way, I promise you. Hey, Stacey. Good morning. So I've had loads of questions saying things like, I just don't understand why I've got to have a consistent style. Do I have to have a consistent style? Because I love landscapes, I love flowers, I love doing this and I love doing that. And I love playing with textiles and I love doing this. And what other questions have I had? Yeah, you get the drift anyway, because we all understand it. We're artists. We all feel like this. And we all want to do loads of different things and play with lots of different things. It's by the very nature. If there are artists that aren't doing that, it's usually because they've got it out of their system and they've done it all, and now they've found something that they're really passionate about. But you'll still find even those ones that aren't on the outside looking like they're still playing. They are behind the curtains. They sounds rude. What I mean is they're still like Sharon. She's a sculptor, and what she puts out into the world is very different to the stuff that she does in her spare time, she just like welding, and she went on a what was it called? It was like wax. I can't remember. She'd tell me, but you know, all these different things. But she just doesn't include those into her portfolio of work. These are things that she does because she's an artist and she's curious. And so, okay, so here's the thing. The workshops are going to help you figure all of this out. So the first video, I'm asking you to choose one piece of work, and I think that's like making people think, oh, I don't want to just choose one. But don't worry about just choosing one, because you can use the same questions again on multiple different works. But for the purpose of these workshops, just choose one. And if you're struggling to choose one, just choose one that, say for example, I'm going to give you £1,000 and I want one of your artworks, and I'm going to put it on a wall where everyone's going to see it. So I want it to be the best piece that you've got, the piece that you're proud of. And then I might even commission you to make another 10 or 12 of these pieces that are similar. So if you had the opportunity, look at your work and get really decisive and think, it's the landscapes that I would do, or it's this. Just for, you know, it's not like you're setting this in concrete for the rest of your life. It's just to use this one piece of work through the workshop so that you can make really good progress. This thing about style that people keep asking about, do I need a consistent style? I think the best thing with the word style is to just drop it. Don't worry about what style you have, because I think this is what trips people up, is this, I'm searching for my style. I don't have a style. And I think that it can really derail people sometimes and confuse people. As an artist, you're inspired by things, you feel things, and you see things in a completely unique way to everyone else. You will see a red chair differently to the way I see it. It will make you feel differently to the way it makes me feel. So we all have different experiences completely. And this is the amazing thing about artists, is that then they take those feelings and the things that they see, and they communicate that in a visual way through art. And that's what makes each and every single one of us unique. And what we tend to do when we start off is we look at other artists that inspire us, and we look at other things that inspire us, and we look at the way other people have made artwork, and we play, and we try, you know, the early stages we don't know, so we try a bit this, we try a bit that, that's you learning your voice. It's learning, like, what do I like? What am I good at? What will this do? How can I make this say this? I really like the way that red works with that green. So you're then starting to process, it's like a process of elimination. And you're choosing things. I love print and I love this. And by the very nature of being an artist, it's easy to fall into the trap of I like everything. And so, but what happens is the more you play, you start to whittle things down. And you start to develop a voice. And that's what I want you to focus on, not a style, but your voice. Because a style could sometimes mislead you to thinking that it has to be abstract, or it has to be expressive, and of course, being aware of style is important. So looking at artists and recognizing style and playing around with that, that's fine. But you are developing a voice, and that voice is never fixed. Your voice will evolve, because the red chair might make you feel angry today, and in 5 years' time, that same red chair might make you feel a completely different emotion. We're always changing, aren't we? We see and feel the world differently from one year to the next. And so our work evolves, and that's absolutely fine. So what we do as artists is we start to develop a voice. And so there will be the voice that we can see. So you will notice some artists, you will see their work and you know instantly it's theirs. Maybe they use a certain color, or maybe they, I'm trying to think of some of our members. So Annika is a good option, a good choice, because you can always recognize her work. She uses lots of negative space and Indian references, and Joe in our hub, I instantly recognize his work because he's just got this DNA. You just notice it. And this is what happens when we keep practicing and practicing as artists. We start to develop a voice that's unique. So in those early stages, and we're copying people and we're finding our voice, this is what happens. We take a bit from here and a bit from that artist and a bit from this one. And then we start playing and we say yes or no. And I like this, I don't like that. So sometimes if you're in that stage of still playing, that's fine, still keep with that. But then what we do is we start to whittle it down. And if you've been to uni, you would have told this, but if you haven't been to uni, then this is the bit sometimes that we struggle with, because we're like, I don't want to stop doing all this stuff, I enjoy it, and I totally get that. But when you want to put art out into the world and make a living from it, what's happening is if you have lots and lots of different voices, and I'm jumping ahead now because this is in the workshops to come, but I can just see some people battling with this. So I want you to know you're going to learn all of this in the workshops. I'm jumping ahead, but I just want to just set the scene a little bit because I can see some people asking lots and lots of questions around this subject. If you've got lots and lots and lots of different things going on, it gets confusing. And it's confusing because all of those works are for lots and lots of different people. And these are why the workshops are so good, because we are going to get rid of all that noise and all that confusion. And I can see it in people where they say, I have so many people who have written to me saying, I do landscapes, I do florals, I do portraits, and I'm just so confused, I don't know which direction to go in. And I've only got 2 hours a day to work. And that's why, because there's so much going on. And so what's happening is you're just developing your voice. And at some point, when you want to put it out into the world, you do start refining what you're putting out into the world. But does it mean you need to stop doing everything else? No, it doesn't. In fact, you should still be exploring all the other things. But when you start to sell your work, you will start to become known for something, and you'll have an identity and a mission. And that's what you'll see when artists are more established. You'll see that in their work. And it doesn't mean that you have to stop doing everything else. No one's saying that you can't, if you start painting landscapes, that you can't ever paint a portrait ever again, or dabble with textiles because you're going to be, it's kind of like having an affair. No one's saying that. And you should always be doing that as an artist, always be pushing yourself and opening your eyes to new techniques and new things and dabbling, and because it pushes your work forwards. The way you will make bigger progress, though, is by focusing down a little bit. So, and this is where the style thing goes out the window, because it's not about style. And this is how the workshops will help. So you just have to trust me on this. Go through the workshops, take one piece of work, because all of this will start to make sense. You will see why you will make much, much bigger progress when you start to really find the thread in your work, the thing in your work that ties it all together. And sometimes it's not about just using pastels all the time or one medium. You know, sometimes when you look at your work, there could be something that ties it all together. And that's what's important. There should be a relationship. And when you're putting your work together, say you've got like 30 different pieces and you're putting them all out into the world, there should be a relationship between all of those pieces. And that's what the workshops will help you with. So when you choose that one piece, choose the piece that you really, really are excited about, the piece that you really, really connect with, and the piece that you'd like to make more of. The piece that you just think, there's something about this that I would love to delve deeper and push even further and try in new different ways. Maybe it's the subject, maybe it's the medium, maybe it's just a theory or an idea, or It could be anything because there's no rules and everyone's different. Like I say, we all feel things differently. So choose the one and know that you can't make a wrong decision when you choose that one piece that we're going to run through in the workshops, because the main aim of these workshops is to help you learn all of this, and you can go back and use different pieces afterwards and ask the same questions. What it's going to do is help you figure out the possibilities in your artwork. It's going to help you really dig into the deeper meaning behind your work and really pull out the potential that this work has to connect with other people, which is the key to selling, basically. So hopefully that makes some sense. So don't worry about style, lesson number 1. Drop what your style is and searching for your style. Think about your voice, a language, art as a language, and you are always exploring your language, always looking, always feeling, and always playing with the materials that you have and the mark making and the way you use colour, and looking, do I like this? Do I like that? No, and just pushing that. And knowing that at some point, you know, if you really don't want to stop doing all the different kinds of things and you want to put everything out into the world, that's fine, but know that it's going to be really, really, really difficult to ever make a living when you're pushing so many things out all over the place, and you're making your life really, really difficult. So this process that we teach in the workshops is going to make your life so much easier, and you'll still be able to do all the things you love, I promise you. Hi Paula and Graham. Oh my gosh, Graham, I saw your work and I was scrolling, didn't have time to comment, but oh my gosh, I need to go back and comment, because I feel like you just like suddenly just gone boom with your work's incredible. I mean, it's always been good, but I just feel I've noticed a shift recently, a real big shift just in the what I've just been talking about. The last piece that I saw, which I think was posted yesterday, had real emotion, and I loved the way the composition of it as well. It's kind of like etched in my mind. Pete, hello Pete. It's how you see the world, isn't it? Unique. It is. Everyone is unique, because yeah, the way we see things and the way we feel, and art is all about feeling. And you know, even if I'm just looking now, if I just picked up like the candle and I just think I'm just going to draw this candle, you know, when you start to draw it, you're feeling it, and the shapes, and so it's such an emotional thing. And then say I just pick that candle and I just draw it. I'm going to get really deep now. Sorry, I start to get really deep. You know, and I put that work out into the world. It might just be the candle that I just picked off my fireplace just right now, but to someone else that could have like a real deep meaning and significance. I'm jumping way be This is what we're going to be doing in the workshops. Stacey, I can vouch for this. This is the second time I'm doing the workshops, and they really help you focus and stop bouncing all over the place. Yes, you can still do all the different styles and mediums. It just gives you better focus. Yeah, it really helps you find your people. I'm so excited to be doing it again. I'm so excited, Stacey, as well, because every time we work together, I can see shifts in you. It's awesome, because this is all about the journey, isn't it? And connecting with, you know, what your purpose is. And you're really delving into that, which is great. But yes, so I see people, and it's ironic because they say to me, oh, my work is this, my work's that, and this, but I just don't have any idea what to do. And I'm thinking, I know why, because you've just exhausted me with all of the different types of work that you're trying to do and put out into the world. And it is exciting. One thing I will say is, in those early days when you're finding your why, you definitely need to explore everything. But just know that that as you move through, it's all about finding your voice. It's all about developing your voice. And sometimes you've just got to park some things. This is when you start to develop as an artist and you're putting work out into the world and you're attracting people. Sometimes, you know, you have all these amazing ideas and you just have to park them sometimes because there's only so much time. And when you start building momentum with your art, you kind of need to stay focused. I've got an amazing interview with Sharon, my lovely friend Sharon, who is really smashing it at the moment, and she has interviewed, did an interview with me inside our hub actually. So I've edited it down because there was a lot of laughing. That's coming out on Monday, so I'm going to be releasing that into your Monday. That will help you a lot. Yes, Tina, that's a relief, not worrying about style. Yeah, don't worry about your style. Your style, whatever that word is, it emerges organically when you're not searching for it, I think. You know, just the very nature of just being an artist and playing and saying yes to something and no to something, and I like this, but I don't like that. Your voice starts to just develop. It's amazing to see. And I've already been inside the group looking at artworks, and I can already 100% see unique voices in each and every single one of you. I can see it. In fact, there was one guy, and I cannot remember your name, I'm sorry, that posted to me some really cool drawings saying that I really want to draw like Leonardo. And I replied back saying it's okay to aspire to that, but actually aim to draw like yourself, because I can see some really like the way he'd drawn the features, and there was like real character and like quite a uniqueness, and the features weren't 100% accurate, but I really liked the elongated shapes, and it's quite cool. And so I love being inspired by other people and aspiring and learning how they did things. But ultimately, you don't want to draw or paint exactly like someone else. You want to do it your way and find your thing, because each of us are unique, and that's what will make you stand out. So, yes. Hello, Christina. The more I play, the easier it is to let those critical voices aside. Yes. Would others like it? Is not the question I follow anymore. Wonderful. But it is a long-lasting process. It is a long-lasting process. Yes. And so, Kaz, yes, I can see your voice. So especially in the work that you've just done recently, the painting onto the leather. Yes, there's a voice there. And this is where the word style gets muddled up, because I think even style is subjective. A way of describing a certain style, it can get muddled up. Some people, for example, realism, and people use that term as a style, but actually realism dates back to, I can't remember what century, but actually it was the painting at the time where people were, because it was all classical and people were painting staged paintings and it was all this, and realism was actually the movement where people just painted people digging up fields and doing manual labor jobs, and it was people moving away from the classical idealist representation of the world and actually painting everyday folk. So it wasn't anything actually to do with realistic. This is where things get muddled up. So I just think your voice is the way you use visual language, the colors, the marks, the subject matter maybe. And what happens over time is that you start to have a few consistencies in the language that you use. So people go, that's Kaz's work. That's Kaz's work. And sometimes the consistencies don't have to be like don't have to do the same subject matter over and over and over and over again. This is where people get a bit worried. It's really difficult to explain. So please just take the workshop. That's why I created the workshop, actually, to try and help you figure all this out, because this is the bit where I see artists really struggling the most, is with the work that they're putting out into the world. It's the one bit that I can really see people struggling with. So the workshop, this is why I created this workshop, and this is why I created it with the focus on one piece of artwork. So don't worry about the one piece that you choose. Don't overthink it. Just choose one. But above all, it needs to resonate with you, and there needs to be some longevity in that I could revisit this for sure. I'd like to make more. It doesn't have to be the same piece, but I would love to make some more work along this theme, or this, whatever the work is. It could be the subject matter, it could be the colours, it could be the medium, it could be the anything, because it's different for everyone. Does that make sense? Lottie, I'm making the most of Inktober to help me explore what my voice is outside of my portrait commissions. Oh, lovely. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I'm just going to make some suggestions. My friend made me see that line harmony is really important to me. I'm glad thank you, Lottie and Kaz, for just mentioning that, because before I go, I will just give you quick tips. So if your why is something that we revisit, like I said, we are human and we change all the time. We like different things all the time. There's some things I think that stay with us forever, especially as artists. I think there's some things sometimes that just stay. There's always that consistent thing. For me, it's the boundaries between abstract and representational. I'm always interested in that. And for Sharon, it's the figure. She's just obsessed with the figure. But then there's other things, subtle things, that just change all the time. And so we have to keep checking in with our why. And one thing I was thinking this morning, I kind of feel like I need to create like a questionnaire. So you start to ask yourself, do I like bold colours, or do I like soft colours? Do I like Kaz just said there, that line harmony. So do I like really energetic line or soft, gentle line, or do I like them both so they're contrasting each other? And this is something, as you start to explore materials and your voice, these are the things that you start recognizing, maybe on a subconscious level. Maybe you're not asking yourself the questions out loud, but you start to return back to that color or that line because you enjoyed it and it felt right. And what you do then as an artist is you start to have this like bank of mark making, and you return back to things. That's then your voice starting to develop, because you resort back to the same things. The same things start to come through in your work. You start to have that consistency. And I remember at uni, I didn't do knock down. I kept me. It's all play. You've got to start focusing. And I was like, I do not want to focus. But they drummed it into me, and I could see the benefits afterwards by focusing down. Because there's almost this resistance at the time, because you think, I don't want to, because I want to do all this stuff. But once you do it, and once you start to focus on something that you really love, this is the ironic thing, you kind of get really excited about the new thing that you're doing, and you go deeper on it, and you get really good at, maybe you focus on a technique or a subject matter that you go deeper and deeper. This is when you start to get really amazing results, because you start to become really unique. When you're an artist and you practice and you focus down on something and you keep developing it even more and even more and even more and even more, that's when people look and go, wow, how did you do that? Or like they can't even replicate it, because you've become a master at what you're doing. So that's the danger when you're flitting around on lots and lots of different things. You've got breadth but never depth, and the mastery comes from going deep on something, but knowing that you can still play around with the other things as well. It's quite confusing, and that's why I've done the workshops, because it's the best way to explain it all, to help you see how it all comes together. Pete's asking, do you think process influences style sometimes? Yes, I do, yeah. Again, whatever this, the style, I just find this word style just a bit confusing sometimes. I think that there are pockets of, there are definitely styles, aren't there? And I guess what happens is that when we start to develop a voice, there will be similarities between people, and that's when people get pocketed together, and then you have movements, and there'll be some consistencies across the people. They're all still unique, but there's similarities between them. So like the Cubism, Braque and Picasso, although they have similarities, very, very striking and different. And so yeah, but yeah, process definitely influences all these different things that are happening. And then I think that when you start to find your voice, you will start to see that other artists have a similar thing to you. You might have even been inspired by them, and now you're doing it in your own way. And that's the aim as well, I think, when you're copying other people's work in those early stages, when maybe you don't feel inspired, it's fine to go and find someone's work and replicate it and just get those juices flowing. But with the knowledge that you'll go and find something else and something else and something else, and then you'll end up developing your own voice. So, by the way, I'm not advocating copying people's work and then selling it like direct copies. I'm talking now about just in your studio playing around and using other people's work to get the juices flowing. And in fact, we teach that in Make Your Mark. Go and find an artwork that you really like, understand it. Why do you like it? What is it about that work that you really like? And how did they make it? Try and have a go. And then find something else. We always think in Make Your Mark, we go to other people's artwork and have a look, a photograph, an actual object. So go and pick something out of the garden or pick something off the shelf. And then you've got some kind of visual stimulus there to play with, and then start to think about your colours. Colours do you like? In fact, Make Your Mark is an amazing course. It's not open at the moment though. But we develop that for people that want to develop their voice, basically. It's a course that we run every year. But yeah, this whole thing has got me thinking that I maybe need to create something to get people to connect with their why. And I was thinking maybe like some questions to really get you thinking, and some like little tasks maybe. Maybe this will be an art challenge in the future or something. Right, I'm going to head. Love you and leave you. So hopefully that's helped. If it hasn't, then the workshops will help, I promise you. It's very, very difficult to explain. So in the workshop, there are examples, and the way to just get your head around this whole thing is to simplify it. And like Stacey said, it's really helped her focus. And so if your head's all over the place and you're like, oh, I don't know which direction to go, this whole workshop just takes all of that away. And you can't get it wrong. Choose one piece and enjoy the process. Take it through the questions and really enjoy it. And that's the best advice I have. And know that this isn't ever going to go away. Like, this isn't your only chance to make this work. This is just the beginning. So just choose that one piece, bring it in, go deep on it. Don't get changing your mind halfway through thinking, oh, I wish I'd chosen this one now. Just enjoy the process. And just know that as an artist, you're developing all the time and your voice is emerging. So have a lovely day, everybody, and I will be back tomorrow. Take care. Bye.